Go ahead and get us sharing around. Quit loading. Share more options. What the hell? Let's see, we're on Facebook. We are your channel. We are on YouTube. And we are on Twitch. 41 notifications on Twitch. Oh no. Oh. All advertisements. Cool.
I'm gaming. You have that set up, right?
What's up?
You have Prime Gaming set up, right?
I do not, because I don't have a personal Prime account.
Say, there's all kinds of free stuff that's.
Oh, let's see here. Alright, let's see. Home. Bring us back up over here. Take me back to my page. Everything is muted, so it's all good. Uh-oh. Alright. Oh, by the way, you are not muted. You guys are totally out there.
I'm really muted. I wasn't talking to begin with, but I'm not muted. I'm sorry.
I'm muted? What? Muted?
Alright, sorry I'm late there, fellas.
You're all good. I'm just getting everything set up right now.
Alright.
All right, wait. All right, there we go. All right. All right. I had to write this one down so I didn't mess this up, which means I'm going to mess it up. All right. This will be my longest intro yet. I even wrote it down wrong. All right. You guys good to go?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Paris. Thanks for stopping in.
Yeah, I know.
All right. So everybody's good to go. Let me get a sound check all around here. Make sure
Checking.
Yep. All right.
Testing,
Picking you guys
testing.
up. TCP.
Yeah, what's up? You trying to talk to me? Are we doing stuff? Are we going live right now? You want me to do
Yeah,
a mic check?
we're gonna go live. I'm getting a sound check. Make sure you
Continuously-
do- yeah,
Loud,
yeah.
baby.
All right, here we go. I almost clicked end stream. Okay. All right, we're all good to go. Goodbye, everybody. All right, here we go. Oh, hello. Welcome to Griffcast Episode 36, the mature nerdy podcast for immature people, the show where we talk about any and all things nerd, from video games, comic books, movies, and technology, up to and including is the deplanification of an astral body named for the Greek god of death, the axis event for the current state of society. Welcome to the show.
Somebody had their Wheaties today, boy. Somebody had their
Wow.
Wheaties today.
We just tried full effort for that one.
Oh, man. Nailed it that time. All right.
Man.
That's what you get for writing it down.
That's it.
Very nice.
That was
Oh.
hated. GG's.
All right, so today we're going to do something a little bit different because this show is not a political show. We don't talk about politics here. We'll bring up, sanctions and things like that, depending if it's affecting the ability to get technology. So since nothing else is going on in the world, we're just going to hang out. We're going to talk about our favorite games, our favorite eras of video games, and up to our favorite genres. So welcome to the show. Hope you have a good time. Grab a beer and join us.
Oh, speaking of which, yeah, grab a beer. Yeah.
I knew it. As soon as
Needed
you
to-
said that, I
needed
was
to-
like, yo, he's going to be on it. He's going to be on
Let's
it.
go.
He's like,
Oh, yeah, so
Hold on.
but I guess I should introduce everybody. I mean, we're on episode 36 at this point. We have over here on, you're right, TCP, the Caramel
what's going
Prince.
That's
And
me.
in clockwise fashion, we got my boy Wild.
Well, good.
And right here, we've got Solves Faneron.
Hey, hey.
I am your host, Griffmore. Let's get into this. All right. Num-nums. I actually, I really enjoyed the St. George beer the last time I had it, so I just went and got a six-pack of it this time.
This is
Beer's
like-
good.
I mean, it's good.
Hey, I mean, it's delish. I mean, it's a little on the light side, but I mean, delish. So where do you guys want to start?
We need to meet up again.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Yeah,
Are we
especially
not going to talk about
before I
like
get-
what we did this week?
Oh, you want to do? All right, yeah, we can do that. I mean, because I'm boring at this one because like it's work and Destiny. I'm done.
Yeah. I mean, I plowed through fucking Horizon Forbidden West. It was just
Yeah.
instantly. It was also a lot longer because I put in like almost 90 hours on that game.
Jesus, really?
90
Nice.
hours, bro.
But I still beat it within like I think it was about a week. I beat it a couple days ago. So I was just...
Yeah.
Man, he said he was taking no-dos, drinking energy drinks. Like, we're gonna beat it. We're gonna beat it. We're gonna beat it.
How much more does the story evolve in that game?
Oh, dude, I am gonna avoid spoiler.
Yeah, don't
God,
spoil it. Don't spoil it. Not
I
yet.
can't say anything without spoiling it. You know, like
Oh.
just.
Okay. Is the story better?
I thought the story was very good. The story was very good, and there were definitely some missions because like there were definitely some times where like, you know, where like games like they put, you know, little sprinkle notes here, little notes there, like video logs and you know, text logs. And I love that stuff, kind of stuff too. You know, definitely when I very first, you know, start out a game, I definitely like sit there and I read through the letters and I read it all. And I'm like, yeah, cool, sweet, that's nice. And then usually like when I'm like, you know, several hours in, I find a letter. I'm like, all right, skip that shit. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You know, and you just bounce through. But there was this one mission where you go through, and like the first couple video logs, they just grabbed my attention. I was just like, this seems very interesting. Okay. And then I started reading some of the text logs and everything, and like some of the reports that were going on, and I don't know like how to put it. It's just like, because I'm trying also not to spoil anything, but like I was reading this one log about like the systems and everything, and I started doing the math on everything. And I read the log, and I was like doing the math of like how long the system's been up to date, and like it's like the like last recorded date or whatever. I'm sitting there doing the math for the game, and I did the amount of days, and I was like, "That's today."
Oh shit.
Someone wrote, and this is, you know, you're in like a culture that has like, you know, not seen human contact for, you know, thousands of years. You know, we're the first people in there, but someone was able to write a log for that day. No, I'm sorry. That's too much.
All right.
Uh-oh.
I'm intrigued. Oh, what about you, Wild? You've been all over the place.
Yeah. Friggin' all over the place at work. But, you know me. When I come out with something, always gotta start working on the next thing. So started working on the next release.
Oh yeah.
The next design. Yeah, started working on that. It's gonna be simple, but it's gonna be friggin' dope as well.
Oh yeah. I need you got access to big man clothes? I haven't actually like checked the sizing on the website yet.
Let me I can double check for you really quick. I think there is access to it. But yeah, I've been doing that, and obviously just preparing, because you already know we got the little one coming in literally like 3 months.
Gosh, has it been that long already?
It's like 3-4 months, and
Oh hell.
it's nuts. So pretty much getting prepared for that, and then just obviously kind of grinding out Destiny. Definitely been trying to kick that in the rear end, because I'm tired of being like always on the tail end of everything. So
Yeah, we,
other than that.
Oh, yeah. I've been. Gosh, I'm a little behind where I wanted to be on Destiny, but I've been doing a lot of exploring, trying to find like the little mysteries here and there. I found a couple of them that are pretty cool. But it's one of those things that you have to be far enough in on some of the reputations to actually unlock certain things. Excuse me. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, I'll show you some of the stuff. What about you, Sobs? You still on that music grind?
You know, here lately I have not been making anything because I have completely lost my life to Elden Ring. The game has completely consumed my existence. I basically don't even have a life anymore. It just revolves around that game at the moment.
He is married to Elden Ring. He is married. Wait,
Oh,
so
dude.
when you coming back from the honeymoon, like, let us know.
No, that game is so good. Like, it really is everything I wanted it to be. I don't think it's going to be too welcoming to new players who have never played these games before. But I can't get over it. It's too good. I haven't even beaten it yet. Like, there's just so much to it. It's ridiculous how not just big the game is. It's just so fucking dense. There's just so much to see. Every time I think I'm getting close to seeing like the rest of the map, there's still like, I don't know, 2 or 3 more sections I can't even find, and then I get taken to other places that aren't even connected to the overall map. It's crazy. Like, it's new shit everywhere I go. There's no like repeated material. I mean, you'll see like some copy and paste stuff here and there, but it's all new design like everywhere you go. Like you'll never do the same puzzle twice. Let me put it that way.
So I have a quick question. So I saw somebody playing it earlier, and I'm guessing it's like some sort of like. To me, all I can really think is like, I glanced at it, and I was like, "Is that a finger?" Where I'm guessing he uses it to invade another area. I'm like, just a random finger.
So, like, the way the game works in this particular game, this game's got, like, a finger fetish or something. I don't know what it is. But like, there's
Better
this
than
thing
toes.
called the way of the 2 fingers, and it's basically some cult that... I don't really know what their deal is, because the story makes no fucking sense to me. But it doesn't honestly need to. It's like the story doesn't have to make sense to me. It's just a cool, crazy, dark, demented world to just be in, and all of these people are just doing stuff that is just so weird and abnormal. But yeah, using fingers is like how you invade other people. It's how you, use your finger to write a sign on the ground. It's clever, but at the same time, weird, and I won't deny that for a second.
I saw that, and I was just like, what do you mean this guy's using a finger? I was like,
Yeah.
that we into that weird and crazy realm. I'm like, I don't know if I'm on that list, that VIP list of names.
I keep seeing more and more on Elden Ring, and like I seen like all these crazy builds going around now, and I'm just like, God, I want to play this so bad, and I got to figure out a way to do time management, because I want to play Elden Ring, and in here in 19 days is the Tiny Tina game is coming out, and I'm just like,
yeah, we're never gonna see Griff. Like, if that game comes out, like he's gonna be non-existent. Don't ask for him. Don't nothing.
Yeah, I just got Elden Ring too.
Oh yeah, what you think about it?
I haven't played it. Yeah, man, because as soon as I got it, like a cancer game fly, is the day I got it is the same day Gran Turismo 7 came out. So I was like, let me Gran Turismo 7 instead. Yeah, man, Gran Turismo 7 is sucks. It's beautiful. It's great. I'm probably still probably like Forza more. I've always had a problem with Gran Turismo, man. I mean, as I tell everyone, like Gran Turismo, just like they try so hard to make it like realistic and very realistic and not arcadey. It's a simulator, so on and so forth. But I still play the game. I'm just like, they make it seem like every car like doesn't have the ability to handle.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I mean, I'm driving like these slow ass little tiny cars, like a Honda Civic or whatever, man. I'm taking a corner at 30 miles an hour and it's sliding off the track. I'm like, dude, that's not real. If that was real, people would be dying every goddamn day.
Yeah.
That shit just doesn't happen. And somebody else described it to me, he's like, yeah, they think every car understeers and all of a sudden it becomes like 5 tons with the shittiest tires ever. I'm like,
oh yeah,
that is exactly what happens in this game. And I'm like,
absolutely ball tires. You go around a turn. Like, and don't you dare press the brake, because if you press the brake any type so hard, you're sliding.
Yeah, just sliding. I mean, they grasp other things very well, like shifting the weight of the car when the weight of the car shifts and stuff like that. And like they do a lot of things well, but I'm still just like, man, these cars have a lot more grip than that. There's no way.
It's just like I drive an Altima, or not an Altima, an Optima. I drive an Optima and I hit like hairpin turns at 45. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've driven sports cars, man, and done that. I've even, taken Ferraris on tracks, and I'm just like, these cars handle a lot better than this. They say they spend years researching these cars and stuff. I'm just like, this, it doesn't seem that accurate to me.
I
I think
mean,
they're just trying so hard to make it not feel arcadey that they just unfortunately make it feel like shit. That's kind of the problem. That's the problem I have with simulators in general. A lot of the time, it's like it's almost like they overdo it and make it so realistic that it's not even realistic anymore.
Boom. Another great statement. Thank you. That is a very great way to put it, man. So, like, I've always been turned off with Gran Turismo since, like, I don't know, which one came out, like, for, like, the PlayStation 2, like, way back in the day.
ooh,
Was it 3?
yeah.
I mean, that game was really good. It was like,
Yes.
So, like, I haven't really played Gran Turismo, so I'm like, I'm not playing them. I'm like, I think I've rented 6, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not doing this shit again.
Yeah, I think
But
the
I saw
last
how
time
beautiful 7 was.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
sorry,
think the
go
last
ahead.
time I played a Gran Turismo was on a demo for PlayStation Underground.
Mm.
Like, it's been a minute.
Showing
for
your
me.
age right there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, but, like, I saw how pretty this one was and everything, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna jump on Gran Turismo 7. I'm gonna jump on it. I'm gonna play it. Just because I'm trying to get all the the PlayStation 5 exclusives anyway. So I was like, yeah, I might as well have it, just for those bragging rights. And I'm actually loving it now because I understand the concept. I understand that, the cars are gonna fucking slide everywhere. I just gotta be smarter. I think like when I was younger too, I didn't really like think about racing games. I just I like try to play it at arcade, and now I understand I had to play it more realistically. Also, I broke, and I was like using they show the brake zones. They'll show the brake zones and the racing lines. So I'm like, yes, I need that.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
when I
I
started
mean, as
doing
long as
that,
they do that.
yeah, the game started becoming a little bit more to manage. I don't know about the earlier iterations of the game, but this one you can modify your car. It's not as in depth as I thought it was gonna be. Because they're just like, do you just want to put a performance muffler on your car or a street performance muffler? And I'm like, oh, we're calling it a muffler and not an exhaust system. That's a little
Performance exhaust system.
yeah. So I mean, they're calling it muffler in the game. I'm just like, it's not the muffler, but it's the exhaust system. But and then I'm like defining it as like cat back or whatever. They do allow you to change out your headers. I'm like, oh, that's a nice good touch, but not a little depth, not as much in depth to it, if that makes sense.
Mhm. All right.
So they could have dodged a little bit more into the customization, like, because that's a little bit lacking to me. But you could change out your tires. That's what I was getting at. So I put better tires on the car, and it has just like a little bit more grip, and that's nice.
I mean, I've taken my Mini around the corner. I mean, the tire, not like, don't get me wrong, I've taken it like around some sharp turns. I mean, I had the tires screaming. You go around and turn a little too fast. Sometimes,
Like,
yeah, they start screaming at me, but never lose traction.
I think your Mini was screaming when I got in it.
Hey, I had my coilovers on there. It was still good.
Oh, all right. So let's get into let's start with era. What is your guys' favorite era when it comes to gaming?
Early
So-
2000s, probably.
So I think you're around the same time for me, like the 360 PS2 era.
Oh yeah, man.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty much what
Jesus.
it was for me.
Yeah.
I mean that's
Black Ops
also
2
like when I
days,
started getting into gaming, but just
I think
games around that time, just clutch.
yeah, I started with when I was a young kid. I had access to a Super for like 2 hours on the weekends, and then by the time I was 10, I had my own Genesis. 9. I was 9 when I got my own Genesis, and so I did a little bit on that. And then when
You have
when I was
Road
in-
Rash?
I did not.
Road Rash.
Yeah.
Bro, so let me just tell you this.
Deep in the memory banks for that one. That game was.
So,
Dude.
I have still yet to not figure out. I know on freaking Road Rash, where it had that little yellow piece on the side of it. I never figured out what that yellow piece was for. You can take it off, and you can attach something, but I can never figure it out what it was. Figure out what it was for.
Wait, what was this on the case of the game?
No, it was on the game. So on the game, Road Rash. It had like a little yellow area, and you could pop it off. And it had something. It was an area where you could attach something. I never could figure out what it was.
Oh God.
They're
Yeah, I
like,
have
"Look,
no
now-
idea. I have no idea. Gosh, 'cause I'm trying to remember like the cases back then. Like,
Or like what, the Super Nintendo games?
Was this
yeah,
Super
like the
Nintendo or
Super
like,
came in like
Those,
the Super came in a
those games
cardboard
came in
box,
yeah, cardboard cases basically.
but the
You-
Genesis came in like a VHS like hard box.
Yeah.
So do you see it, CP?
Yeah.
The little yellow. That's why I never figured out what it was
What's in it?
for. I never figured out what it was for.
I don't think I ever played Road Rash on the Super or the Genesis. I think I played it on 64. Dude, I definitely remember Road Rash just running like on a bike and you had the chain and you're just
Beating people left and right. Yeah.
That's classic.
So
there was a game that came out recently, probably within like the last 5 years. It was kind of like Road Rash. I want to say it was called Road Rash, but this game was horrendous.
like,
It
oh
was
gosh, let's see.
so
I
bad.
think it might have been called Road Rage, and if it's what I'm thinking
Oh.
about, it was pretty horrendous.
Gosh, because I think like the most I played on Genesis was was it like Darkstalkers,
Road Rage in 2017.
Sonic,
So bad.
and oh gosh, there was a Mickey game. Like it was you play as Mickey Mouse and you're going through like Alice in Wonderland and God,
Kingdom
I can't
Hearts.
No, not Kingdom Hearts. Like way before Kingdom Hearts. Way before Kingdom Hearts.
Was it like that black and white Mickey?
No. Yeah, I have a friend that like he's gonna hear this and he's gonna be like, "This is what you were talking about." God, it was so hard too. It was so hard. I think I only beat it like once. What's going on, Dak? Oh, hey, the chat box is working.
Yeah, you can pull it up.
It's already on screen.
I don't see it.
Oh no, like
Oh.
it's on stream. It's on stream.
My bad. I'm looking at Discord like I don't see the goddamn chat box.
All right, so yeah, we got
Bro.
we got Paris on YouTube, we got Dak on Facebook. It's showing where they're from. Hell yeah! All right,
Heck
sweet
yeah.
deal. So, and it's hovering right over TCP. So,
Oh no, they can't see my face now. God damn it! I'm trying to work on the beard game, but you don't need to tell me the beard game is that bad. You need to cover it up. Gee.
Yo, we were just talking about that too, right before you came on. We're just like,
You know, you're
I was just like, man, I've been neglecting the beard a little bit. And I'm like, it got a little patchy. So I started back to my little beard routine. I'm sitting over here like, yeah, I'm good. And TCP's just like, man, I don't like none of y'all. Like,
It's
Oh.
hard. I'm working. I still got like this little dry spot right there. I'm like, just get some hair there, man. If I can start getting some hair there.
so the trick there is to grow this hair above it more, so that way you'll never notice that spot again.
yeah, you just
This hair's not getting long enough so I can comb it down. It's,
you gotta do a facial comb over.
if it gets like a little long, then the female, she
I
looks
like-
at me and she goes, "You look nasty as fuck. And you need to cut that shit." I'm gonna cut it in your sleep, goddamn it.
Oh man, it's like it's like a face comb over.
Yeah, it literally is like a face comb over, bro. That's nuts.
Oh,
All right. No, it's cool.
Like now TCP is just like, man, I'm gonna turn the camera off, man. I don't even want to be on camera no more.
just get the chat going a little bit more. You won't see him anymore.
Don't worry, it'll come in. When it comes in, he gonna be looking like old English coming through with the field game.
man.
Put a solid chain.
Like I can't grow a mustache, but I can do the whole like Jewish beard, Yeah. But
Oh my goodness.
all right, so I guess we're all basically in agreement that like the 360 PlayStation 2 era was probably the greatest in console gaming, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it definitely started with PS2, and you know, like PS3 didn't really take off for some reason, but the 360 just made up for whatever it couldn't do as far as
Yeah.
like games and exclusives. Like, you know, even though this generation PlayStation's kind of got all that, and
It's weird because the
due to recent acquisitions that might change, but we'll see.
Yeah. The PS3 did have a slow start. It's because they played their hand very badly, and then PlayStation has obviously been very smart about that ever since. Because
Well,
they
like
they let the
also
Xbox come out a
charged way
year.
too much. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
they
also
charged
charged
way too much
for the console. You know.
You know, honestly, like I actually hated the PS3 operating system.
Yeah,
It was not
I
great.
think a lot of people did.
Like it was, you know, it was difficult to navigate. It was difficult to use. Your settings were in 14 different locations for like, you know, 3 things. Like, oh, I absolutely hated it. So like when I got one, like I barely used it. It became the bedroom DVD player. Like that's what my
Yep.
PS3 became.
Yeah.
Which is good for Blu-ray.
Yep.
Nah, I mean, I use it pretty often, and I got used to the operating system. But I mean, you're right. It wasn't that great. You know, they definitely fixed it on the way. But
Yeah. I mean, when I, you know, the PS4 was definitely an upgrade to the PS3. Now on the Xbox side of thing, like Xbox was killing it. Like on the 360 era,
the
it was
360 was dope.
like
Yes.
just banger after banger. Like even their crappy games were still really good.
Yeah, yeah.
Wasn't a big
certain
fan of their
ones.
Red Ring though. Wasn't a big fan. of it.
So
Yeah,
I actually
that
never
was-
got the red ring. I never got the. I actually
Well,
still have my 360
you.
in my living room, and it still works.
Go ahead, turn it on right now. See what happens.
You're probably one of the few people.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good
Don't
point.
update it. Don't update it. You already know. As soon as you
Yeah.
update, Red Ring.
Yeah, because like I say, what in 360 we had what we had Prototype, we had Fable, we had. Does
That's
anything
when
else
Gears
matter?
Gears
Yeah,
of War
Gears,
first came
yeah.
out.
Ooh, Gears of War.
I
Yeah.
fucking hate Xbox so much. I'm a PlayStation fanboy, but I swear to God, if Gears of War came over to PlayStation, that would have been a just game over
Oh,
for
yeah.
everybody. Gears of War is probably my favorite game franchise. I'm just so salty
man.
that it is
Yeah.
only on Xbox.
Yeah, then you had Halo.
It's definitely up there for me.
Yeah.
Love God of War, and that's only on.
PlayStation. Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, GOWs, man. GOWs just getting the work done.
yeah.
Man,
God of,
you
God
know,
of War
there's one
carrying
game-
PlayStation.
There's one game I used to play back on PS2 that they were supposed to make a new version of before COVID hit, and they actually have the game done and complete, but they won't release it for some reason. Prince of Persia.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I saw an article about that
Ooh,
recently.
I love Prince of Persia.
The Sands of Time
remake
remake.
looks so bad.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was the Sands of Time. They had completely remade the whole game before COVID came out. It was supposed to launch like in January or something of that next year, and I'm probably one of the few people that was really looking forward to that game. And then they just completely canceled it. I mean, I'm sure they might try to re-release it at some point, but I haven't heard anything more about it.
Yeah, I actually saw a date for it recently. Like it got
Did
pushed
you
back like
really?
a year because they were actually going to go back in and polish more.
They needed
Oh.
to do a lot because it looked so
I hope
bad.
They would.
It looked
Yeah.
so bad.
Yeah.
It didn't look like a remake. It looked like a very it looked like a demaster. It looked so bad.
Honestly, you know, I didn't think it really looked that bad when I saw the screenshots and everything. I mean, if you compare it to the original game that they were, you know, remastering it from, I mean, it didn't look anything like that original game. The
I'm looking at
original
it
game
right
was
now.
all polygoned.
So
It's
Prince of
not good.
Persia, Road Rash, Crash Bandicoot was
Yep.
my all-time favorite.
Oh yeah,
actually,
that's the class. That's like Mario or something, but for
Yeah,
PlayStation.
yeah.
you know what's funny is that a friend of mine got me the Insane trilogy for Crash Bandicoot.
Uh-huh.
I popped it in, and I apparently remembered enough that I beat the first game in like 4 hours.
Oh wow, that was the hardest one.
It's just like, wow, okay.
It was. That was the hardest game out of all 3 of those.
Yeah, but you know what I remember though about Crash Bandicoot though is that was the first time that I ever felt that dying was forgiven.
Yeah.
Like that was the time when like video games actually became easier.
A
Because
little bit. You could still run out of lives and everything, but it did have a system that was just kind of like, oh, you ran out of all your lives. Well, here's like 5 more, or,
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly how it worked.
Or then the mask. Oh, as soon as you got that mask,
Mhm.
it's-
You know, another thing, Devil May Cry was the first time I ever felt trolled in a video game.
Devil May Cry 3. God.
So like, what was it?
damn.
It was either the first one or the second one. That once you died like 3 times in a row on the same thing, if the same thing killed you 3 times in a row, a screen would pop up saying, "Do you want us to drop the difficulty?"
Oh yeah.
I was so mad. I was like, how dare you?
Yeah, slap in the face like, you're not good enough.
A little bit, you know.
Yeah, Dark Cloud. Oh god.
Gran Turismo 7 was doing that to me, man. I'm trying to do like the licensing stuff, and like if you slightly go off, like that's like real fine tuning. If you slightly go off the track, or like even just barely touch the wall, it will fail it, and then be like, and then the dude will top off on screen. That's like supposed to be coaching you, or he's like, it seems like you're having some trouble. Maybe you should go back and watch the demonstration. I was like, fuck you! I can do this shit. Give me some better grip on my car. It's gonna be.
Yeah, turn that grip up. Like, seriously, Gran Turismo. Seriously.
Oh man.
Man,
Gosh.
Devil May Cry 3 was so good. One of the best feelings that I had when playing Devil May Cry 5 was like just navigating the menu or doing stuff and just like hearing the nostalgic sounds
Oh yeah.
of everything.
You know,
and I was just like, oh, that hits so good. That hits so good.
What was it? Was it 4 or 5? Because I think I started in 3. Like the music would pick up tempo and get better, like the higher your combos went. And
Right.
Like, and journalists
Something
were
like that,
trashing the soundtrack. They're like, the soundtrack is horrible, and it's just like, yeah, because you're playing like shit. It's like if you actually learn to play the game, you might actually enjoy the soundtrack. But I think I tried 4, but I never finished 4. I finished the first 3.
I finished 3 and 5. I don't remember 4 for some reason.
4 was the 4 was
Good. I had
the
Nero.
yeah 4 was the redo of Dante, where it was like the alternate version or his son. I don't know if they ever clarified that.
Yeah, it did.
No, I think you're thinking of just the single the title just Devil
Yeah.
May Cry. That's all it
You're
was
right, 'cause,
called.
yeah, they
not
relaunched
Devil
it,
May Cry
yeah.
4. Now that one was made by a different company, and that was like I think that was made by Team Ninja, which is a great company, and they make great good games. But I did not like that game. I hated that game actually.
Yeah, it didn't feel like Devil May Cry.
Yeah,
It was just weird. All the characters in it were just weird and just very cringy. Like I was literally crawling out of my skin. The game was making me cringe so much. Like I couldn't even play the game because I thought it was just so cringy.
That's how I felt about, was it Final Fantasy X-2?
Yeah.
Oh god, it felt like I was
Yeah,
I was playing
The game was a nightmare for anybody who loved the Final Fantasy franchises because it just took everything that you loved about Final Fantasy and just turned it into a girls' game. And I mean, look, if that's what you like, more power to you.
girls can't have games now.
no, it's
Look,
not that.
gotta
It's
appeal
the,
to the male fantasy.
Yes. No, that's not what I said. But after playing Final Fantasy X, you kind of expect it to stay more within that range, and then it just turns into like this game where it feels like you're playing as a pop singer, and I don't know. It was weird. It was very very weird.
yeah. All right. Oh gosh. Like outside of.
Buddy.
All right, so what about favorite games? All right.
That's a hard list right there.
It is. It is a hard list. It's like,
It's very tough.
do you guys narrow your games down to just favorite games, or do you guys narrow your games down to favorite games within X console?
An X console. I mean, that's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, for me, it's completely different. I have favorites for different reasons.
Yeah.
Or like certain things that I like about certain games, and that's why I play that game. Like say, out of all the shooters in the world, I'd probably pick Destiny as my shooter just because I like more of what it does, and I feel like it has more to offer compared to a lot of other shooter games. Just as an example.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not really sure how you guys classify all that.
Yeah.
So,
like you're talking about like
Like
genre
I do.
and
Well,
Yeah. To me, it's all the same thing.
Yeah, so
I guess
like
I
for
do
me
have
personally,
like
like
an
I
overall
do,
favorite.
yeah, like I have a like a favorites list. It's not in a particular order, but I have a favorites list, and then I have like favorites within like like Solps was saying, like I have favorites within different like genres or different types. You know, for like overall games, number one for me is Final Fantasy VII, original, not remake. But that's more for more personal reasons. One, I love the story. Two, it was my escape from reality. That was my first big, long, savable RPG that I ever played. And so it was a game that I could disappear into for 100 hours and not feel bad about. I played all the other fantasies up to 14, and number two is definitely hands down Ghost of Tsushima. Like Ghost of Tsushima just like pulled on my heartstrings. That was one of those games that when the credits started rolling, I didn't know what to do with myself when it was over.
Oh man, I've had that moment so many times, and I'm trying to. It's such a great feeling when you just want to sit there and just like bask in it. Oh, that's a good.
Just really
feeling,
take it in.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like I really love, what's the phrasing I'm looking for? I really love dark stories and dark games. Like I love, things within the Warhammer universe or Diablo. There's a phrase I'm looking for, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Morbid?
No, it's not morbid. Grimdark. Like I really love grimdark stories, grimdark games like Path of Exile, Diablo. Destiny has actually got a very grimdark story. It's not perceived as grimdark, but it is actually grimdark. Like I said, Warhammer. And like I really love the Warhammer fantasy setting, like the Age of Sigmar and things like that. Oh, it's fantastic if you can get into that. Can't really think of anything else off the top of my head right now, but like that kind of setting, that especially like if you can get like a grimdark fantasy sci-fi, which is one of the reasons I love Destiny. It's grimdark, it's fantasy, and it's sci-fi. Another reason I like Warhammer. It's grimdark, it's fantasy, it's sci-fi. Diablo is just grimdark fantasy. But like if you can hook me, and I also love brutal. Like let me get like my aggression out on enemies, like Doom. Love Doom. I don't love Doom for its overall working story. I love Doom because the brutality of it is a huge
It's very satisfying gameplay.
It's satisfying gameplay, and it's not so much like, I want to go do this. It's let me get this out in a controlled environment.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just me personally. That's where I fall. So, I
get it. I mean, I've been there. I think we've all kind of been there a number of times. I mean, especially just this past week, had a rough week, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna take it all out on Call of Duty. Go in, and I freaking went in, and I went freaking ham.
Yeah, I saw that.
I had some of my best games.
Like, yeah, when it comes to like to games like that, it's like when you're having a bad day, you're either gonna have the best games that you've ever had or the worst. Like, there's no middle ground when you're in that mindset. It's just like, let me just turn everything off and play the game. Like when you're in that mindset, it's just, you're having the absolute best games you ever had or the worst. So.
But for me, the very first game that I absolutely fell in love with, that I spent even still years after it was gone, Battle Arena Toshinden.
What is it?
Battle Arena Toshinden.
I don't know.
It was a fighting game. It was a fighting game, and I freaking fell in love with it. I played it, and the graphics were crap. I remember going back and looking at it, and I was like, oh my goodness. What are these graphics?
It looked good
But I
back
would-
then, though.
Yeah.
But, I would sit there for hours and play that game. Let's see. I mean, I think I still might have it in like a case or something.
Oh.
Oh.
Color in it to Shindig.
What about you,
good,
Sol?
man.
Where's your list at?
My list is kind of all over the place when it comes to certain games, but one game that I did used to play the absolute dog shit out of back in the PS2 days was one of the Prince of Persia games. Not the Sands of Time, but the second one after that, Warrior Within.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason.
I remember Warrior Within. That was bad.
For whatever reason, I just absolutely couldn't get enough of that game. It was a really short game, and I bored my friends to death by playing that game over and over again. Because it wasn't like the story that made me love it, it was just the gameplay. It was just how good it was at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, there wasn't any other game that felt like that game. It didn't move like that game. You couldn't just pick people apart, with all these melee moves like... Oh no, it's okay. But it was just a really good game. For whatever reason, I just couldn't get over it. Another series of games that I liked back then was the Armored Core series. You guys ever play any of those games?
Yep. I played the first 3 of them.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had some on the regular PlayStation, which I never played those. I only played them from the PS2 and up. And they have some really good ones on the 360 too. But they haven't made a new Armored Core game in a long fucking time, and I heard rumors recently that From Software, which I didn't even realize they were the ones that made that game in the first place because it's been so long. They're the Dark Souls people. They are apparently going to bring that franchise back here very soon, and I can't fucking wait. I cannot wait to play one of those games again.
Yeah, that would be really cool. There's been a lot of rip-offs since,
there's no good mech games, in my opinion. Like, there's Chrome Hounds, there's some of the Gundam games, but those games are not the same. They're just not.
Yeah, like, the original, the original couple of Armored Cores were before their time, and they haven't been, replicated since,
Yeah. They were definitely before their time, that's for sure. They were doing something that other games just couldn't seem to figure out, and even they didn't have it fully figured out, but it was still great what they were doing.
Mm-hmm. What about you, CP? Where's your list fall?
Like y'all, there's, great games that you have, and, in different genres, I guess, I've always loved God of War. Gears of War was dope. But I think one game franchise that I just fell in love with and I just played so much was Dead Space. It is.
Oh man, that's a great series. I love that.
It's such a great series, man. I just loved it, and it also kind of resonates with me a little bit because I remember I saw it when they were showing it at the E3 because at the time I would watch E3 and see all the games that are coming out, and I'd write down lists, of all the games, keep track of them and everything. I built out this gigantic list of all the games that I wanted to play. I had them all written down. I had GameFly, and I still remember Dead Space came on, and they were showing off Dead Space. I was like, that game looks fucking stupid. It looks bad. I'm like, well, oh, it's a horror game. And I don't do horror shit at all. I was like, man. No, man, scary movies is a fucking no. but somehow I started doing horror games. Still don't do horror movies, man. Fuck that shit. But I played Dead Space. I just ended up renting it. I just had a lull, and so I just rented it, and it came, and I just fell in love with it. I just fell in love with that fucking game, man. So much. It's just. It was just a good story, man. I fucking love space. There was times too, I thought it was just so cool. Like having like the whole blasted out of the side of the Ishimura, and I'm just like standing there, just like staring out into space. I'm like, damn, this is fucking cool. Sitting there having a good time.
Which one did you like the best?
Dead Space 2 is probably my favorite. Dead Space 2 is really fucking good. One of the great things that I loved about 1 though was that Isaac never spoke. You know, you never saw his face. You know, he never spoke until the end. There's actually,
I guess.
yeah, you didn't really need to. There's actually a way to see his face in the very beginning, in the like when the ship crashes, in the shuttle bay. You can actually pan the camera around. You can see his face. But I don't think a lot of people thought about doing that, because like, you know, when you're first watching the opening scene, you know, no minute interaction, like you can't pan the camera around and see his face, so you really see his face until the end. And I thought that was kind of cool.
How hard was it for you to put that needle in his eye?
Oh, it's not hard at all. I the first time I saw it, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna fuck this up. I'm just like, I'm gonna fuck this up real quick, just to see how fucked up they'll do it.
Yeah.
Zero hesitation.
No, I was like, I'm gonna fuck it up real quick.
Oh no, no.
Dude, so like,
there's something I don't do. It's,
You cringed the first time.
so like the first time I played Dead Space and I realized it was like a true horror game, and I was like, yo man, fuck this shit. I was only playing it at midnight, or I was only playing it at like high noon. I was only playing it at high noon for like an hour a day. You know, even times I was like, yo man, can't take this. And then after a while, you know, I started getting better with it and so on and so forth. Then when Dead Space 2 came out, I said, I'm only playing this game at midnight. I'm only playing this game at midnight. I'm putting on the fucking Turtle Beaches. And
That's it. You're fully immersed.
And I'm gonna fuck my shit up.
Nope.
It was so worth it. You know.
Any type of scary game or anything, Resident Evil.
Resident Evil's not even that scary, man.
Bro,
Like, one of the scary...
when I was younger though, and
I guess so.
literally coming around that corner, and then the liquor climbs across the window. Oh, I'm out.
Dude,
Y'all can go ahead and deal with that by
used to
yourself.
play Fear. Like, I don't know if Fear came out before Dead Space. It might have came out. It might have come out before, because I think I
it was
tried
around the same time, maybe.
It was around the same time. And I think, because there was a time, like, I came back to Fear so many times, but I remember the first time I played Fear, I'm like, I should not be playing this fucking game. I should not be playing this fucking game. I got through so many parts, and I was just like, I still remember being in the air vent, and then having my light flicker, and then having her just gallop at you in the air vent, and I was just, immediate pause. Nope, let me turn this off real quick. Fuck this shit. I was always screaming my ass off. You know, I had family in the house. My mom was screaming at me, what the fuck are you screaming for?
They're coming to get me.
You know, when it comes to horror games or scary games, I think one of my favorite games, or two of them in particular, back in the PS2, was either Manhunt or The Suffering. Those two games.
I never considered Manhunt a horror game.
I mean, maybe
Manhunt
not a horror game, but it was pretty scary to have to try to survive all that shit.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was
you were
intense for the
literally
era,
stuck
but
in an underground- I mean, you were literally stuck in an underground snuff film arena, and you know, you were trying to make it out of that alive. So, I mean, I think to be in it would be pretty scary.
Oh,
And plus, all the people in that game were just saying some of the craziest shit. It was just Rockstar being Rockstar back then, you know?
fuck, man, Manhunt. That brings back memories of games that I never told my mother I played.
I wish they'd make another one. I don't think they ever will. I wish they would.
Well, I think they were working on 2, but because of the
Oh, they made it 2. The 2 exists, but I think just like another iteration of the franchise. I wish they'd make another one.
Because I remember there was so much public backlash for that game. Like, that was one of those games that somehow just made the news constantly.
Yeah, it was just that kind of game, you know?
Yeah, Dead Space was like that. They started this group. It was like Moms Against Dead Space.
You know, I saw something about that. I remember when that first came out. That was for Dead Space 2, wasn't it?
No, I think it was Dead Space 1. It might have been 2. But yeah, I mean, they're trying to get it banned in all these countries and everything. They're just like,
Yeah, I want to say when the second Dead Space was coming out, they were trying to make it more like more commercially advertised, so more people were learning about the game who had never seen it before, and some of the horrific scenes. Actually, I remember what it was specifically. It was the babies that had like needle tentacles. Apparently, a lot of mothers were very put off by that.
What?
Yeah, I know, right? Who would have guessed?
Oh, that's what the campaign was called. It was Your Mom Hates Dead Space 2.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was. That was their way of trying to sell the game, and it worked, you know.
You know,
Oh,
one of those things that, you know, I'm glad that science actually prevailed, and the fact that, you know, they pushed out this whole narrative that, you know, video games cause violence, video games are you know, are destroying the minds of your children, et cetera, et cetera. Nowadays, video games are perceived as an art form. They're perceived as a form of digital art. You know, they're a digital storytelling, like, and you know, they're like, you know, video games actually develop hand-eye coordination, and violent video games actually help reduce the tendency of aggressiveness in humans, like,
because you're able to get all of it out. Yeah.
yeah. So
Funny how that works.
yeah. So a part of me is like really glad that, you know, the current culture of today didn't exist 20 years ago, because we would not have what we have today if it did.
No.
Like,
I see what you're saying.
Things would have played out a little differently, you know, a lot differently actually.
yeah, like, you know, if the society backlash that we have today existed 20 years ago, we wouldn't be where we are today when it comes to video game storytelling.
Cancel culture, you mean?
Yeah. I was trying to say cancel culture without saying cancel culture, but thanks for saying it.
Well, you just gotta say it, you know.
And just rip it off like a Band-Aid, man. Just do
yeah,
it.
I mean, like, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like overall, like, I mean, I think video games are both the reason that, you know, I've made it as far as I am today as a human being, but also the reason that I haven't gone farther as a human being.
Also true. Yeah. Man, there's
I can relate to that.
God, so many times that I just like fuck off schoolwork for stuff. One of the most famous, one of the most things that I can remember was, like, I had this like massive project due for school. It was massive. It was huge. It was like the day before, and I hadn't started it. Like, I have known about it, you know, of course, for several weeks, but I was too busy playing Scarface.
Oh God,
Scarface, the
My
video game.
goodness, Scarface.
I was like, I need to deliver my cocaine. I need to get my money. I was obsessed with that game. I was obsessed with that game for some reason. And I just didn't do
it. It was
it.
a good game back in the day. All my friends were into that game when it was out.
like, I was never able to do stuff like that until I was an adult and was able to make those poor decisions for myself, you know? Like, there was a few times that, like, I just cut out of work. I was like, I gotta go hit a midnight release. Peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I did
Got
that in my
priorities in life.
Yeah, it was funny. It's actually I did the last time I did that. I was in the warehouse for the current company I'm working for, and I'm like, hey, you know, I went up to my boss. Hey, it's like, hey, at midnight I'm gone, or like 11:30 I'm gone because I got to go hit a midnight release. And they're like, well, are you coming back? And I'm just like, no.
It's like, no, that's not how this works, man.
Yeah, once I leave, I'm gone. I'm not coming back.
Midnight releases used to be like a different realm.
It did.
No,
yeah,
those
was the
people
thing.
that actually did it are a different breed.
I used to.
Cold.
I mastered
Yeah.
midnight releases. I ended up there was a couple midnight releases. Like, I went there, like, you know, a couple like 2 or 3 hours like before. I only did like once or twice, and I was like, man, no, I'm not doing this again. So like, dude, like, I have so many stories that, like, you know, just like I just started like dropping bombs on people. Like, one time there was a midnight release. I think it was one of the Gears of War's game. Like, it was a midnight release. You know, I had already paid in full. So I started going to midnight releases. I would leave my house at 12 o'clock. It was only like, you know, a 5, maybe 10-minute drive to the GameStop. So I would leave at midnight, and I get there, the line has already died down, and I just walk in and grab my game. You know, because like it just hurts more when you're standing in line for so long, and then you're waiting for people to grab their shit, and you know, whatever, and like, you know, and then GameStop started getting better with it, because at first they just had everyone line up, and then when you get to the front, they're like, "Have you already paid for the game?" Like, "No, I gotta pay for it now." And you're like, "All right, cool, so pay for it now." Like, "Oh, I only got the pennies." And she's like, "Hurry the fuck up, man! Just let me get my shit. I've already paid." So they finally started doing that. They had like they had lines for people that were. They started doing lines for people that already had it paid in full, and then people that had a little bit of money down for it, but not enough. You know, not paid in full. Then they had people that were trying to get it. You know, they didn't pre-order or whatever.
Yeah, they had the get your shit and get out line, the we'll get to you in a minute line, and the if there's anything left you can have it line.
Yeah, pretty much.
So there was one midnight release I went to. So like I said, like I would get there like right. This was when I was still like I would get there right at midnight. A buddy of mine who had also pre-ordered the game, he had stood in line since 6 o'clock. You know, like he was standing in line since 6 o'clock. I mean, he was having a good time. You know, there's some people out there like sometimes the employees would, like bring out like chips and stuff for people that were waiting and stuff and good stuff. So he was waiting there since 6 o'clock. And I rolled up and I hit like he screams my name. He's like, "Yo, TCP, what's good?" I didn't go by TCP back then, but you know. He's like, "Yo, man, what's up?" I was like, "Oh shit, man, you're like number 2 in line." He's like, "Yeah, man, I've been waiting here since 6 o'clock." I was like, "Damn, dude, I just got here. I'm number 6 in line."
Dang.
I was like, "That sucks,
Bro.
man. I really want this game, but." Yeah, I didn't want
I know 6 o'clock.
I wasn't gonna wait 6 hours for another 2 spots in line.
God.
God.
I think
I was like,
I think the most brutal midnight release.
Wait. I'm sorry, I have one more story, and this is when I dropped my fucking nuts in everybody's mouth. I dropped my nuts in everybody's mouth. It was the PlayStation 4 release. The PlayStation 4 release.
Buddy.
So the PlayStation 4 release, like, you know, I went to the, like, they announced it, the GameStop didn't open until 10 o'clock, whatever, and then I rolled in. I don't know how, like, people beat me, because I was, like, I got to the GameStop at, like, 5 minutes before 10 o'clock. I was the first person in through the door, right, waiting for the open. I went in and walked in, I was like, "Yo, I want to pre-order the PlayStation 5. There were probably, like, employees or whatever, people that had, like, you know, just, you know, connections that got in front of me, like, with employees or whatever. Like, I was like, "Buying the PlayStation 4 straight up right now. Here's full price." He's like, "All right, since you're paying full price, you're number 7 in line." I was like, "Oh, I'm number 7?" He's like, "Yes, you're gonna get the 7th PlayStation." I was like, "I will be number 7 in line." He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Shouldn't have told me that, man." Done deal. Done fucking deal. So they're giving, like, when you paid full price up front, they gave you a number.
Yeah.
So I was number 7. So I rolled up to that GameStop at fucking 11:59, just blasting my music as loud as fucking possible. That place was fucking packed. There was lines for like almost like a mile, like just around the building. It wrapped around the parking lot and everything. I rolled up. I was the last person in the fucking parking lot. I walked up, and some people were like, "Hey, yo, man, the line's back here." I'm like, "Yeah, I fucking know." I walked in. They already had people, like, they already let people into the store, and they were, like, you know, starting the line at the back of the store. So I walked up. I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Went up to that person. I'm like, "You number 6 in line?" They're like, "Yep." I was like, "You number 8?" And they're like, "Yep." I was like,
Yep.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
My favorites are always the when they do the lines of, you know, those who paid and those who haven't, and like, you know, you're standing in the paid line, and then so they get everybody all split and divided, and then the store guy's like, "Okay, you know, you guys, I got you," and he turns to the guys who haven't paid, "Go home."
Oh.
Oh, nice.
There was probably about 40 people in that line. Oh, it
jeez.
was brutal, but
I mean, that's the whole point of pre-ordering.
I don't think they pre-ordered for the PS3. But one of my siblings, they lived next to a Best Buy, and they knew someone that worked at the Best Buy, so they knew how many Best Buy or how many PS3s the Best Buy was getting. And they're like, yeah, I drove by the Best Buy, and people were waiting in line, like 6 o'clock, waiting for them to open at 10 o'clock the next morning. And they're like, yeah, I saw 3 people waiting in line, but I know they were only going to get 2 PlayStations.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Well, somebody's going home disappointed.
Yeah.
It's always nice to have somebody on the inside.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But, all right. We'll go ahead and we'll wrap this up. It's been fun. Hope you all had a good time. Thank you all for coming out. We will see you next Sunday. Be good.